Okay, it is Coffee with the Kays, episode 5.
Season 5.
Good morning, good afternoon, good night, however you're joining us. Hey, you don't know. People might be listening to us. It's 12 o'clock in the morning.
Who drinks coffee before they go to sleep?
Hey,
a lot.
You probably.
That's it. A lot of
I
people.
never understood. No, I don't know. So I will just say one of my aunts, and I won't say which one. I remember visiting.
Her name starts with a K.
Yeah, well, that's both of them start with a K.
Yeah, that was a rough one.
That's it. I know, right? But yeah, I remember visiting them in New Jersey, and
Jersey.
That was it. Yes. It was Jersey, and it was like 10 o'clock at night. She's like, "I'm gonna put on a pot of coffee. Does anybody want any?"
No, she didn't say that.
No.
She said, "I'm putting on a pot of coffee."
Coffee. That's exactly what it was. Yes.
Anybody want coffee?
Yeah.
I'm going to have some coffee.
I was like, wow. And see, I wasn't really drinking coffee that much at that time. And then I discovered.
And then you discovered it and started drinking
magical.
More.
All right,
let's
get over this mug here. You're going to offend me, so let me.
Oh,
get
it's
it over.
not offensive. No.
So Aunt Quinn gave this to me. Every end is a new beginning. Master's degree class for 2020.
Yeah, that's good.
It's very good. I just thought there was something humorous about every end is a new beginning.
Oh,
sorry.
Get your mind out of it.
It was one of those.
It's a family show.
I know. Come on.
That was like, he said duty. Oh
my God.
I
had that moment. Yeah. I had that moment this week. I was giving this lecture about tolerance and people that have special needs, that if you see somebody who's making fun of someone else and you understand, how wrong that is,
and it's serious,
that you have it is not just a good what
idea.
You should do, a good idea, but it is your obligation, which is a word I should have used, but I didn't. I said it is your duty. And then I heard somebody was duty. I was like, now I'm going to punch you all in the face. Yeah. Yes.
That's my duty.
That's it. I was just like,
well,
no!
these were like fourth graders. I mean, they were
adults, and I probably would have said the same thing. He said duty.
It's better than pianist.
Oh no, that's the one. That's the other one. Oh my God, that's the other one.
You cannot say
no.
You have to say piano player.
Yes.
So we had to make that clear what you were actually saying. You can't say.
Yeah, no, I turn it back. Player. I turn it back on them. Yes, that is what they called. What is wrong with you? You're thinking of something. I do. I turn it back around.
I don't even go there. Yeah.
Or I just keep saying it over and over and over and over and over.
Explanation's a road too far.
No, sometimes that's why I'll just ignore the reaction and I just keep saying it over and over and over. After about 20 times, they stop giggling and then it's okay. And they accept. Okay, that's the name.
That's it. Very good.
Working with children.
So, what kind of coffee did you make me today, dear?
This is Guatemalan Antigua.
It's very yummy.
Yes.
It's very strong, but it's good. It's very yummy.
And you got that and not the good stuff that I got, because last week when you sipped it, you said, "Oh, I got a mouthful of cream."
No, it wasn't.
And he took that to heart, and he's all right then. I won't do that no more.
Exactly.
And it wasn't. It was like yesterday. It wasn't. It was yesterday.
Josh is very touchy about his coffee. That's why nothing but raves.
I said I happen to like a mouthful of cream.
No, it's just that if you give a comment one way or the other, yes, I do. I'm going to take that to heart. So say, all right, you don't want it that way.
Next time, this is what I'll do. Ready? Next time I'll.
I got peppermint cream.
Yes.
Okay.
Very good.
So just don't go.
Which is what you want.
Don't make that,
Well, I never make that face. You, on the other hand, would make that face. You'll be drinking warm milk next time.
Right. The Vitamita Vegemin.
Yeah, that's it. Oh, man, that was an old reference. That was
a good one.
I love Lucy, kids. Go look it up.
Look it up.
Vitamita Vegemin.
Yes. It's so tasty,
well, according to the statistics, we have a bunch of old codgers watching.
Yeah, apparently.
And,
there you go.
And we have
don't offend the 5 people watching us right now, okay?
But our number 1 fan is not an old codger.
No!
Our number
I just
1
found
fan
this out.
Yes.
Summer!
Yes.
Hi, Summer.
Hi, Summer.
Hi, Summer.
We love you, Summer.
Yes.
Don't drink
Keep
coffee.
up the good work.
Don't drink coffee, Summer. You're too young.
Well, we'll talk about it later, Summer. No.
That's right.
Summer takes guitar lessons, and
Yes.
Summer is doing a good job.
She's
Her
doing
and
a
her
good
sister Hannah, we enjoy teaching them.
Yes.
And she was so sweet because she said that she was one of the ones who gave our videos a like last week.
So
Yes.
follow
Yes.
Summer's
Yes.
lead and like us.
Like us.
Like us.
Who doesn't like
we didn't
us? What a
click-
case.
Yeah,
Come
Kaye
on.
coffee.
That's
So
it.
I want to say, though, I thought it was really great. I'm sorry. I'm
How
jumping.
many times have I told you?
What?
Whenever you do a toast,
Oh, I have to
you
drink.
have
You
to
have to
drink
drink
it.
after
That's
the
the
toast.
purpose of it.
That's it.
It just shuts me
She
up,
got-
I
she
guess.
got
I'm
too
sorry.
You know, we clink glasses.
Yeah.
I know. We
Clink.
did clink.
Clink.
Okay. I forget. I don't know why. I
Not,
get-
not much experience in the toasting area.
No.
Well, I mean, I wanted to talk about Summer's lesson yesterday, but maybe we'll wait. Because we usually do coffee. Well, okay. I was just excited because Mr. Kaye, Josh, our master's degree, he said, I was just listening in on the lesson, and he said, so, Summer, I want to guess how many days you practiced this week.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, you're going to do that.
And I thought, okay. And so he did. He said, well, based on your lesson, she
Don't
takes
say-
a half-hour
Don't
lesson.
say the number.
He-
Well, that's not.
I don't
that's
think
not
it's
awful
bad. I think
Yeah.
it's better than some of my students.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he said, I think you practiced 4 days. And then you heard her mom's voice in the background. Oh my gosh, I can't believe you. You got it right on the money. And so it was so great because we really do know
Yes.
when our students practice and when they don't. And we really have a very good idea about how long they've practiced each time. And it's unfortunate that most of our students think they can just snow us on that. They
Oh,
think,
yeah.
I can go on my lesson, I can tell them I practiced every day, but
We always
now
know.
Summer didn't do
We
that.
always
She didn't
know.
say I practiced. She was very
she owned up to
truthful
it.
and
Yeah,
honest.
she did.
And 4 days for some students
That's
is
good.
a record.
Yeah.
It's
Yes.
really good. I had we were talking on the last podcast. One of my students with such a tender conscience missed a day and just couldn't get over it. Like the whole time he was in his lesson, he kept saying, "But I missed one day." So it was,
That's
you
it.
know.
That's how it goes. Yes.
But-
Well, Summer, if you're listening, yes, you did good, but I want you to practice every day. Okay?
And
Yes.
and then he explained to her what we have said many times on our podcast, that even if you just get a few minutes, if you get 5 to 10 minutes in every day,
You're doing something.
it's
That's
going
it.
to be, and this is
better than
particularly a problem with adult students because
Well-
they feel like if they can't practice for an hour, then they're not even gonna, like, why try?
When I was taking lessons, I was a bad student.
I was
I hardly ever practiced.
I was a bad student.
But I still made progress.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because if you go to the lessons, you're practicing there. Mm-hmm. You're still going to perfect your skills a little bit. But how much are you going to get in return?
Yes.
If you put that little extra effort in there, it's going to rain. You're going to get tons of benefits from it. If you do nothing, you get a little bit,
Because at least you're practicing once a week at your lesson.
Right.
So
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I feel like, the idea, the mindset when it comes to lessons is what needs to change, because a lot of times, especially my adult students, they feel like the lesson is the test.
yes.
I've got to prove
That I yes.
that I worked this week, that I, and then too,
then they get
if
nervous.
you didn't practice every day, then that's the thing. Then it's like even more. Oh man, the pressure's on because I didn't practice every day. He's got to know, I'm not going to be able to pass it. And it's like,
Yeah.
stop that. Like long-term mindset here. Like let's think about this. Let's think about, you're not just doing this for a couple of months and then that's it and you're going to know everything about everything. And when you bring that up, everybody laughs like, oh yeah, of course. But then it's like, no, but then really take that to heart and
Yes.
realize that this is just 1 week out of the, hopefully, hundreds and hundreds of weeks that you're
Yes.
going to be in, studying music. So
there's a dynamic in taking lessons. There is a subtle pressure on the student to be able to perform.
Sure.
Yeah. So, that's a good thing because that should motivate you to practice throughout the week.
yeah.
And if you practice 4 days and you're feeling a little convicted, you might want to practice 5 or 6,
Right.
and so it's a good thing.
Yeah.
However, it's really bizarre when a student walks in and they look like they lost their dog, you know.
I know.
And then you go, what's wrong? Well, I didn't practice this week at all. You're like, don't expect nothing.
Yeah,
From
I know
that's
that's
it.
low on the bar.
Put the bar way down here.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
I know.
Well, I have one student.
And that doesn't pan out anyway, because once you start the lesson, you raise the bar a little bit.
Well, and that's the
know?
thing, and I always appreciate the honesty, because, like I said, especially they know that you're going to know, especially when you build a relationship with your students and stuff. They know that you know that they know they know.
Yes,
that's a good point.
Well, it is, and years ago I stopped asking. I don't say, so did you practice this week? I just stopped because it doesn't matter really at that point, because now you're in your lesson, and now we're going to move forward.
Well,
wherever you're at.
You tell me all the time that, don't ask them, because I famously ask them.
Yes.
Because I want them to know the relationship between being lazy and neglecting this and not.
Right.
And sometimes they're a little cocky thinking, that they got it all down, and then they fail miserably, and then they're all bummed out. It's like, hey, what'd you expect?
Right.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because that's part of the reason why you have to have a relationship with your students, because you understand how they're approaching things, and you can understand maybe, sometimes maybe that's the case. They're, I've definitely had students like that before, where they're a little bit full of themselves, a little bit, they have higher expectations of their innate abilities.
Yes.
That was a good master's degree quote right
there.
They lack the understanding and the critical listening skills to fairly assess their progress or where they're at there.
That was a good one too. That was good.
That was another good quote.
That was another good quote. Exactly.
Well, because a lot of times,
and I didn't even need a master's.
I know. It's crazy.
But really, a lot of times they, it'll be, well, I practiced every day. Well, did you practice with metronome? Well, no.
Yeah.
Well, practice is always a funny thing, because that is the difference. Is definitely if you have the instrument in your hand, or if you're singing and you're doing it, you're making noise on it every day. There is value in that. However little, there is value in that. Mm-hmm. But if you are specifically trying to achieve a certain skill, which a lot of times is why people are taking lessons.
That's usually,
you have a certain skill you're trying to reach, then you have to practice the proper way in order to achieve that skill, not just merely playing.
Right.
Well, like your master's degree, for example, what if you didn't do the work?
No, yeah.
You just show up and well, I want to tell you first off, I didn't do the assignments.
I didn't read any of these articles you told me to read. Yeah.
I mean, they're going to laugh you right off the monitor, man.
That's it. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, what they'll say, what did you expect? Yeah. And then you got the consequences of the wrath of the teacher, which we don't do, but
no. No, and we do try to encourage students. We all have those weeks, those rough weeks.
Well, it's a transition, because you get a person not used to having music in their life or learning an instrument in their life, and then you bring them into this environment where all of a sudden they have this factor in their life that they're not aware of and that they're not evaluating properly, and you have to educate them, and you got to get them to understand the value of what the practice is and how to succeed, and it doesn't come without practice very fast, but if you practice, it can come pretty darn quick.
And then we've talked about this before also, it's enjoying the process.
Absolutely.
Because practicing really can be fun and enjoyable, and you do put the time in, and you're going to see yourself get better, and that's great, but sometimes it's just fun to play.
Yeah.
And that a lot of times, especially at the beginning of lessons, you have to ask students, okay, what are you doing when you sit down to practice? Mm-hmm. Let's talk about what exactly.
Yeah. How are you practicing?
With children, a lot of times they just run through every song.
Yeah. Well, without the metronome.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And it's not really supervised practice, and they're not. So then we talk about what does practice mean.
Well, and I will say this for the people that are listening, our most successful students are the children, young adults, children. Those students that are the most successful are the ones that have parental involvement.
Oh,
yeah. Absolutely.
It really is. The ones that are in on the lessons, the ones that are ensuring that the practice happens every day, the ones that are checking in to make sure that they're working on the same things. Those parents that are doing that are ensuring that their kids are achieving success. And then little by little, they can start to kind of back off that a little bit as the kid gets older.
Because they learn how to work it themselves.
That's it.
But I got to talk about this one drum student we have.
Oh, yeah.
He's amazing.
Go ahead.
Yes.
There's once in what, 10 years?
Yeah.
Comes
I was going to say 20,
student
but
like
that's
this.
not,
Yeah. Well, I remember that 4-year-old guitar student.
I'm thinking of the same one. Yeah, I remember.
His dad was a flight instructor. And
he's probably 20 years
phenomenal.
old.
Yeah.
I know.
But he loved to count. Mm-hmm. He would sing out loud to count.
Yeah.
As he's playing the notes, he's singing the count.
Right.
And just as happy as you could be.
Oh,
and it was a joy to watch him.
I know.
Let alone teach him, you know. But this new drum student, he's got the same attitude.
He's
and he's
the same cloth.
And he's just making gangbusters.
Yeah.
And
progress.
he's little. He's 6. I mean, he's really.
That's the thing. I forget when I'm talking to him. That he's 6. So I have to remind myself from time to time. But he really is not. He's not functioning. Like a typical 6-year-old in this regard.
He'd be like he's 10 processing, or something. And he asks really good questions.
Yes.
And
he's focused.
Yeah, he's
excited.
Through. Well, and like he was so excited at his lesson, yesterday because I saw it happen when I first opened that book, and showed him the notes. It was like. What is that? It's like might as well have been getting on, right?
And we say that he's starting the drum set book, so now it's not just the snare.
Yeah, but you gotta, you gotta crawl before you walk.
Both feet.
Yes.
Yeah, so we started with keeping a steady beat. We start with alternating hands, and just snare and bass. We keep it simple, and now we're progressing to the drum set. But what I saw yesterday was him getting really excited that he actually could start understanding what he was reading. I showed him something new, and he figured it out.
Yeah,
it was like he was on top of it, and he wanted to keep. I wanted to move on to something else, and he was like, "Can we do the rest of the page?" Like he wanted to keep going because he was so excited that he was getting it and he was figuring it out. So
I'm really, and I'm so pleased with his family. His whole family.
I mean, he's talk about support.
He's got,
there you go.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
grandma, sister,
mom, dad.
Yeah, everyone is supporting him, and it's been really
absolutely
seeing that. It's great.
Some people in parenting their kids, they find activities to get them involved in, and they think, well, music, so he wants to play the violin, so we're gonna, push him in that direction and get him some violin lessons, and then it's like we just want to drop him off. We'll pick him up in a half hour.
Yeah.
There's no understanding of what the kid's going through,
right,
in the learning process, what he needs to learn, you know. A lot of them, they would rather just not even be in the lesson, and that's man, it's like you're totally missing this opportunity.
Right.
I've always told these kids that this opportunity is going to come along once in life, where your parents are paying the whole thing.
Right.
That's it.
All you got to do is show up and practice.
Right.
I mean, you don't have mouths to feed. You don't have rent to pay. You don't have all this stuff hanging over you, vying for your time and for your money. And you could focus on your drums completely, or whatever you're playing, piano. Yeah.
Well, and it's hard because of, for us too, because with our experience, I know me personally how many times I've heard this. I can't even imagine for you guys, but I hear it all the time. Man, I wish my parents would have made me stay with lessons. I hear that all the time.
And then some people get that opportunity to come back. I've got a lady started this week, and she, took lessons when she was a kid. Wish she had never stopped. And I have several adult students that are like that.
Because you think, where would I be now?
Right.
If
Instead of starting over
with it.
Right.
Yes.
That's it. Oh yeah, we hear that all the time.
Okay, it's a little inconvenient at first. You have to adjust your life a little bit. You have to get into the discipline and learn the system of learning and all that. But that's such a small price to pay for what it could turn out to be.
Right.
It is. Well, that's it. A lot of parents I've heard over the years say that, I want my child to take music lessons because, I hear that it makes them more disciplined. Well, it doesn't just because you signed up for lessons.
No.
It does it because if you're setting a schedule that you're
It's a
sitting
system.
down every day at this time and you're practicing.
It's a
right.
method.
Routine.
You're working
right?
in that routine, and then that transfers over to other areas of your life because then you see, well, if I want to learn how to crochet, I have to. I've got to do it every day because I pick it up and I do it for a little bit, and then I forget how to do it because I put it down, and then I got to pick it up and relearn it again. And it's exactly the same. It's a skill. And it's not like riding a bike. I mean, I'm just saying. I don't know. But you do have to give whatever new thing you're going to learn. You got to give it some time.
Yeah.
Right.
So we skipped. We did
That's
a little
okay. We
coffee.
can get to it. We can get to
okay.
we'll get to the Browns at the end. That'll be
Okay, we'll kind of
we'll
switch
do the
it
off
up.
season at the end.
The off season, yes.
We'll talk
But
about
no,
that.
it was good.
So.
It was good to talk about
All right,
that.
this was good.
Thank you, Hannah, by the way.
Yeah,
that was a
and
good
Summer,
and
Summer.
Oh, I met Summer, but I met Hannah too because Hannah does practice too.
Yes.
She does a great job.
Hannah is doing
Hannah
good.
is Summer's sister, and they really
well,
are.
And
They're doing
the
great.
two of them, whether they'll admit it or not, they
help
push
each other. They
Yeah.
do.
Well,
I think that's great.
That sibling
and
thing.
and it's a good thing.
Yeah,
it's
it
a
is.
good thing. So.
It is.
Yeah.
And Mom and Dad are both supportive.
Well, and that's
a
the reason.
huge
And that
thing.
once again goes back to why they're being so successful
Mm-hmm.
in their lessons right now is because Mom and Dad, who are probably listening to this, good job, Mom and Dad.
Yes.
Yay!
Are they're being very supportive and they're working with them.
I don't understand why the public school system can't get that
Capitalize
understanding.
on that. Yeah.
That the parents have to be involved.
Right.
Yes.
And
Well, if you
unfortunately,
want success,
at your school, there's a very low socioeconomic range.
But we still
Parents
have,
are in jail, and
there's some sad
kids
stories.
got nobody
Right.
to no home. Sometimes
Right.
it's really hard to hit them up for parental involvement in the kids' education, but
they still do, though. We do
Well,
still have parents that are involved, and especially with the pandemic and everything now, with some kids still choosing to be at home, the parents are involved, and they are helping them, and they're coming to the school and picking up packets of work and going back home.
I think this pandemic thing had a bright side, at least in one aspect, in that you had opportunity to get to know your kid
yes,
a lot
that's
more
neat. Yeah.
than when you were out there working.
For
Right,
some of them,
right.
that's the reason why they want them going back.
Yes, I know. Yeah. Sad but true, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
For teachers,
they
we all kind of
complain
feel vindicated. We're like,
Yes.
see, we told you it wasn't just us.
That's right. But I always have told parents from the start, as long as I can remember, that regardless if you're going to homeschool, private school, or public school, that your child's education is your responsibility.
Yes.
Well, that's
As a
the
parent.
thing.
we've done all of that.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
We have experience in all those areas.
Yes.
And we took our kids' education very seriously.
Yes.
And it maybe some people would disagree, but we placed music up there with reading and writing and math.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that it's a core subject, and if people understood the value, Plato, in his utopia, for his elite guard, the cream of the cream of the cream of people in his utopia, music education was top of the list.
That's right.
Yeah.
He wanted them to have a music because he saw the benefits
Right.
that come with studying music, you know. And it's a shame that people think, well, like it should be fun, and if it's not fun, then why make a kid do it? Sometimes we hear from parents, and they say, well, I'm not going to push them, because if they're not having fun, I'd hate for them to hate music, like, well, okay, math, I'm through doing math.
Oh, well, I always
I'm not having fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Okay, don't worry about
Don't
it.
worry.
You shouldn't have to be pushed to learn math.
Yeah.
Well, and that's one of the things. Like, I've been dealing with this a lot, the last couple of weeks, because we go through this every single year at school, because I have a choir for 4th and 5th grade. And for some kids, this really is a big deal for them, because this is the first time that they've really been in something that was on their own. Because it's a part of the school. Mom and dad are not paying for it. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
And so they make the choice to do it themselves, and then to stick with it. And sometimes it gets to be hard.
And it's their responsibility to show up.
And
Nobody's taking
me
them
and Andrea really put that responsibility on them, and not on the teachers and not on the parents, because that's part of what it is. It's and we feel like that's important.
Good learning.
And so for some of these kids to go through that, in this kind of this growing pains process, they wake up one day, and something fun is going on in the classroom, and they have to leave to go to choir practice. They don't want to leave, so therefore they want to quit choir. And then it starts to spread. Around. All of a sudden, I got all these kids telling me they want to quit, and I'm sitting there going, "No, what the heck?" And it's hard for me not to take that personally.
I know.
But I do stop, and I see it by now, especially because I've been doing it so many years. I'll tell Andrea, "Okay, we've got I told her this week. I said we have another pandemic we need to worry about. The quick choir thing's going around again." And she was like, "Oh, really?" I was like, "Yeah." So we got to deal with it. But I gave a speech last week to the choir, and I. Just kind of, poured a lot into it. And I said to him that, look, just because you wake up one day and you don't feel like coming to choir, does that mean that you're, done singing for the rest of your life? I'm not going to do that anymore? Come on. You're going to have days where you don't feel like doing it, do it anyway.
Parental support.
Right.
Yes.
So, let's think about this for a minute. Is music or math involved in your life one more than the other on an average day?
Oh, golly.
Music.
Probably. I was going to say that.
Hands down.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
You're watching TV, they're playing music on the commercials.
Yeah.
They're playing music during the show.
Yep.
You listen to the radio,
games.
you got
these
video games.
Oh, yeah.
You're going someplace, you're in the elevator. What do you hear? Music.
Yeah.
You're at the dentist.
Yeah.
Oh, they're playing music.
You're watching YouTube. There's music.
Yeah. So, you're not doing math 24/7.
Right.
But you're doing music that much. It's not recognized or understood.
Pervasive. I mean, it's
And one of the things that kind of came across in my teachings last week was the fact that the purpose of music in American culture is a lot different than the purpose of music in other cultures, in other countries, or other nationalities even. But we consume music so much in America for entertainment, whereas there's other
it's history,
right?
Yeah,
and there's other cultures where it was primary forms of communication.
Communication, I was going to say yes,
and so
it
wasn't,
still is,
and still is. Well,
yeah.
Yes, for a lot of people and groups of people, it still is. And this idea that it wasn't even a thought that you could choose to do music or not do music, because it was such ingrained into just how you did
society, culture.
Exactly.
Yep, definitely.
And
what it is in ours, it was just not recognized that way.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah, and I think because too we put a high premium on people that are performing. We pay to see their concerts, and we watch their halftime shows, and you know what I mean. Yeah. We put this high premium on that entertainment factor of music, and don't necessarily give enough thought or consideration into the function of music within our modern society.
And
that's why when I discuss this with parents and tell them that when we homeschooled our kids, man, music was core curriculum. It was just as important as math or reading or writing. And they're like, oh, no, music should be fun. And, if little Johnny's not having fun 24/7, well, why are we going to push this on him?
Yeah.
We're just creating battles. And I always tell him, what would you do if he said he's done doing math?
Yeah.
Right. Well,
or science. I'm not going to do science no more. I don't like it. Yeah. I'm not having fun.
Right.
Yeah.
When you let that enter in, you're totally skewing the equation way off the chart.
Right. Well, and it can lead to problems later on in the future. I look at graduation rates. I look at there's lots of other things that that you can point to that, you know, end up becoming a problem because of, you know, allowing this kind of mindset.
Right.
You know, allowing
this
kind of mindset
of,
mindset. You know, you can start something as soon as it gets challenging.
Unfortunately,
you're allowed to quit.
it's ignorance. You know? And it's placing your interpretation of the importance of music on your kid.
Right.
You know, like, I just think it should be fun.
Right.
They should be singing and dancing the whole time that they're practicing. They should practice on their own. And, you know, I always ask them, well, you know,
what else
does your child have chores that they do? Oh, yeah, you know, he's got chores. So what are his chores? Like making the bed, taking the trash out, whatever, you know. Oh, yeah, he has stuff like that. Well, what happens if he doesn't do it, if he doesn't make his bed? Well, you know, I mean... does that happen at all? Yeah, it happens all the time.
Do you have to tell them to make their bed?
Right. Yes. Do you have to be on them to get them to do that? You know, or to take a bath or whatever. You know.
Is there anything they do without you telling them to do it?
Yes. And the answer is no. I mean, you got to be involved. And do you ever have to fight with them over it? Well, yeah, you know, I do. Well, you know, why are you picking on music like this? What is the thing that devalued music so much that it's not an essential element in their life, in their thinking, you know?
Yeah, I'm with you. So, you know, basically, just to, you know, kind of put a bow on this, you know, parents that are getting their children, decide that they want to get their children involved in music, need to understand that there has to be a certain element of commitment in order for them to be successful.
Yes,
and do you want your children to learn self-discipline, perseverance, goal setting, all these great things that can be accomplished through music? You know, there's other ways to do it too. You know, I mean, like karate. You know, like
sports.
There's plenty of other.
You set goals, you persevere, you practice. Yes, it's a discipline.
It's
That's
a
right.
Discipline.
But when you take that out,
you
know, how do you expect them to learn that through osmosis? One day they're going to walk down the street and. You know, all of a sudden they're going to have it.
Yeah, well, and it is. It's fundamental. I just don't think people think it through.
No.
That far.
No,
because you know, you sign a kid up for, you know, when your kid's bugging you about getting guitar lessons, you buy him a guitar, or you know, wanting to play the guitar, you buy him a guitar. They bang around the guitar, they don't know what they're doing. Then they start, well, you need lessons if you want to learn how to play, you know. So then after a while, okay, fine, we'll get them lessons, but they're signing them up for lessons just like they sign them up for soccer. And you go to soccer, and you just drop your kid off, and he goes to soccer practice, and you got games on the weekends.
You don't have to work with him,
right?
Yeah.
And you know, so there's a mindset that music, you know, should operate the same way, but it just flat out it doesn't work that way. Especially if it's something that's one-on-one. I think it would be a little bit different if it was like, you know, the kid was involved in orchestra or band where it was a group. You know, kind of a thing, but still, if you want to be successful, you got to practice.
Well, you know what makes it worse is there are music teachers who condone and pander this idea of every second has to be fun.
Yeah,
you know? We teach in the most non-threatening manner known to man. You know, we surround our students in bubble gum. You know, and we were so careful not to, you know, offend their.
We have Enya playing in the background as you walk into the tranquility of our weekend.
I know, and that's just they have no substance to what they teach, and they're just pandering to the parents that have a wrong.
They're doing anything they can to take your money. Let's just call it what it is, okay? I mean, it's like no, you can't, and you know that's not. Hey, if you're going to devoid yourself of any kind of value, sure, go for it. Then that's how you want to do business. But that's definitely not what we're going to do.
Why don't you really tell us how
I'll finish my coffee here. I'm feeling a little raw. Yeah. But, I mean, that's it. You know, come on. We have, I feel very strongly, the reason why we're passionate about this, all three of us.
Well, we are.
You know, we feel very strongly that we have our students' best interests at heart every time we approach it. And everybody's a bit different, and we approach everybody's situation. We build, you know, those relationships, you know, and stuff. But, you know, that's the thing is then we're going to provide standards and we're going to show you how to meet those, you know, because that's what good teachers do, you know. and then it's up to you. And, for the children who are not fully functioning adults who have to learn these things, they need help from their parents to be able to understand that forest for the trees thing. That, hey, if I push through this and I get better, that's exciting, and now I'm having fun, Yeah. So
you got to keep them in the game,
Yeah.
It's kind of like little barriers, on boundaries.
Mm-hmm. It's funny you bring that up.
Doing that, it's going to work.
Well, it's funny you bring that up because I remember when I was the very first class I ever taught. It was at a private school, and it was that Orange Beach Arts Center.
Yes.
You remember that?
Mm-hmm. I do.
And I was still going to college. I was at UWF, but they wanted me to teach a percussion class. And the age range was from 3rd grade to 6th grade. Like, it was everywhere in between. There were like 15 to 20 kids. It was a huge age range, and I had them for an hour and a half.
Right.
So an hour and a half percussion class, and I agreed to teach them, and they were paying me, and I was excited. It was good money and all that stuff, and they were so good. The people running it, were really good in giving me the opportunity, and they saw, like, the lady that hired me. She said, "Man, well, I can tell you're really excited about doing it." Like, they could tell I really wanted to do it. But I remember, like, after the second week, I was like, "Oh my gosh! Like, I don't know what I'm doing." That's it. It's like, oh my god! What are you doing? When this happens and that. And I remember you telling me you have to set up boundaries. You have to establish this is the box. These are the boundaries. And then you told me that kids have security and safety in knowing those boundaries are there, and they will always test those boundaries to make sure they're still there. And as long as you're consistent, they'll thrive in that environment because they want that. They want that security. They want to know that those boundaries are there. And that was such a ding light bulb moment for me. And it was something that I continued when I had student teachers at Helen Caro, and when I talked to other young up and coming teachers and stuff, mentors and whatnot, that was some advice that continually came back that I was, and I still even to this day remind myself of from time to time.
How do they know you care?
Yeah.
If you don't have boundaries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know.
Because other than that, you just go play.
Right.
They could go out on the highway.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
but they know you care. You set boundaries,
right?
Then they feel that,
and
they respond to that.
That's it. It's good stuff. All right, well, we're gonna break right there, and we will be right back. Okay, we're back. So, we had a little bit of sad news that we wanted to talk about on our podcast today. We just found out that the great jazz legend Chick Corea passed away with a rare form of cancer last week, and
it was sad.
It was sad.
Well, it's good. It was quick.
Yes,
suffering.
That is true.
Laid up in the hospital. Yeah, chemo and all that.
And he was teaching and performing
right up to the end.
Yeah. And he I think one of the things that is interesting, just about our reaction to it. I mean, I think, I felt similar when Dave Brubeck passed away. That was just one of these jazz legends that just had such a profound impact on my own playing and music, and understanding.
But Chick Corea even more so because we've met him.
Well, and I think that was the thing. We got an opportunity to meet him at 2018 American Eagle Awards in Nashville, Tennessee. And it was the Manhattan Transfer and Chick Corea were both being honored
for Lifetime Achievement
Awards. Yeah.
Yep.
And we got VIP tickets, and and then little did we know, we're sitting there having dinner, and one table over was
but
Chick Corea.
We actually saw Chick Corea before we went into the dinner, so we got to.
Oh, and that was so funny
down
too.
The hall, that's him.
I saw him. I remember seeing him and looking at him, and he looked at me dead in the eyes, and we kind of went like that as we passed each other. And
then we were all like, "I think that was him. I think that was Chick Corea.
I think it was that."
Yeah. So then we got to we actually did talk to him before the dinner.
Yeah.
Because I ran down the hall and tackled him. No, I didn't.
As you're known for doing.
I know. No, it was very...
Phil Kaye had something to say.
That's
another story for another time.
Yeah. No, but that was so great. I mean...
Well, and he was just not at all... I don't know what I was expecting, but he wasn't at all what I was expecting, because, I mean, to me, this was a guy... He was a living legend. I mean, just, and what he had done and what he had accomplished, and just, I did a post on my Instagram feed about that riff in Spain. And I'm like, I remember hearing that song for the first time and just being like, that is
so cool.
You got it.
Yeah, it was it. And I was like, I have got to learn how to play that. That is so cool. Yeah. And so I did. I found the music. This is when I was at UWF, and I was in jazz combo, and I said to guys, we got to do this song. So, and they're like, yeah, okay, Spain. Like, oh, it's like really cool. It's really cool. And so we did. We learned it, and I think we even performed it in a concert, and and it was fun. I was playing drums, and we had a marimba player, that was playing with us and stuff. And it was an interesting mix, but it was one of those things where it was just infectious. And I had that song and his style of playing. I listened to so many different versions of him improvising with that song in particular. And he never did it the same. Like every time he did it, his improvisation was different. And I was just like, it was so inspiring to me. And, so at one point, this was towards the end. This was my senior year. We were going to do one of our last concerts. And I was learning at the time Bad Neri by Bach. And I was learning it on the marimba. It's normally played on the flute, right? And I was playing it, and I was like, man, this is like Chick Corea. Like this is
But he would be the first one to say yes, because he incorporated so much classical music into what he did, and he would improvise. He would start on a Mozart piece, and then he would take it in another direction.
Well, and talking about well-versed, I mean, because that was the thing. It wasn't like, I'm just a jazz musician. I only play jazz. Like, no, he was playing Rachmaninoff and stuff. I mean, really, like, he was really, he was he studied the,
all the
music,
classics,
just everything, And so, so I got inspired, and I called it Bach in Spain, but I basically wrote a piece that mixed Bad Neri with Spain, and it had like counterpoint in it and stuff.
It was good. It was,
and it was just and that was all because of him. I got inspired, from.
And then you got to meet him.
And then getting to meet him was just phenomenal. And then how humble he was.
Oh my gosh, extremely. I know.
That was.
You know what? The thing about him is he made you feel like you were friends for years.
Yes, I know.
That's right. He just met you, but you just felt that kinship with him.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And just a really great guy.
Yeah. And he really wanted people to make music and just do it. Just sing, just play, just enjoy music and make music, and don't let anything hinder you. Don't let anybody tell you can't.
Yeah.
I mean, he was so encouraging. I mean, and just...
Well, and the things in his mind that he knew about music, I mean, he shared those on his Instagram feed.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
He had asked me questions, and most of the questions are like, how do you do that?
How do you be awesome?
How do you be awesome? That's right.
I know, right?
I remember one was like, how do you improvise? He's like, you just do it.
You just do it. And you get better at it when you do it.
Yeah.
And listen to the feel, listen to other artists. I mean,
and I think that was the just do it aspect was so much a part of that, because it was like, okay, we could sit here and talk about this all day long. We could talk about it all day long. But I mean, no, we need to actually get in. You got to just do it. He would say, you got to practice your improvising just like you practice anything else. You know? And it was so cool, and I think it was cool to hear that too, because then it also validated a lot of what I was feeling, when I talked to students about the same thing, or my own playing,
Right.
And these ideas that, like, sometimes we set up these kind of these man-made constructs in what we can and can't do. Well, if you're gonna play that type of jazz, you have to only play it this way and all this stuff. And here he is, he's mixing classical music and jazz.
Well, and you desecrated like Bach.
Oh, I know, for real. Oh, geez.
You had those Bach purists rolling in their graves, man.
I'm sure they were flipping their lid. Yeah,
but it's music.
It's music.
Well, and honestly,
Bach would have approved.
I think he would have.
Exactly.
That's the funny thing, because they thought they knew Bach so well, and they're contrary to his philosophy.
Oh yeah, because he was improvising all the time.
He was a rebel,
and he was.
A rebel.
Yes, he was totally. He wanted to do stuff totally different from how everybody else was doing it, from the status quo. That was the whole thing, you know. So, you know, it was all this church music, where it was all these dirges that had been around for hundreds of years, and he was like, "I'm tired of that. We need to do something fresh. We need to put the passion into this."
Right,
you know?
there you go.
And so to say then that, well, in order to honor Bach, you have to only play it exactly the way that he would have played it.
Yeah.
I think he would have objected to that.
Oh, I'm sure he would have.
I do too.
So, you know, it's interesting. You know, I had a conversation with a student about that last week, because there was this idea, we were talking about that, and about Bach and Beethoven, and like comparing the two. And you find in Baroque music there are these purists that, like, when they play, their instruments even are tuned to, like, 438 or whatever, instead of 440 hertz, because that's what the Baroque sound would have been like. And I mean, people get degrees in Baroque performance and all this, but then with Beethoven,
I didn't break it.
That's good, yeah. But then with Beethoven, everybody seems to take liberty with all of his stuff, like it's okay, because, like, think about Für Elise. There's one dynamic on Für Elise. He wrote a P for piano at the very beginning, and that was it. He didn't write anything else the whole rest of the piece.
Totally.
Oh, man, all the time. And it seems to be okay to do that with Beethoven's music, but don't you dare do that to Bach, because, he didn't have, he didn't write dynamics, so it's like, that doesn't make any sense. Come on, I actually think that Beethoven, based on what I've seen from him, he was way more of a perfectionist than Bach
agree.
did.
Yes.
He wrote 9 symphonies. 9.
Right.
It was it. Mozart wrote over 100.
Yeah, there you go.
Like, come on, he wrote 9.
Yeah.
And he agonized over them.
Yeah. Definitely.
So, I mean, I think, if anything, he's the one that, if you were going to be stylistically correct, do exactly what he said, because it was more... It was kind of his character. But then, at the same time, he also had that quote that, about playing with passion. To play a wrong note is inexcusable, or is excusable, but to play with passion, without passion is inexcusable.
Something like that. Look it up.
Look it up. That's it.
We get the drift.
That's it. But so anyway, back to Chick Corea. I think that he kind of embodied a lot of that. In what he did.
Oh, he was a superstar, man.
Yeah,
not just a performer, but a teacher.
There you go.
That's a rare breed.
Yeah,
that is You get these guys that make it to the top of iconosphere of musicians. Yeah. And then they feel like they want to give back. So they teach. And they have the ability to teach.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
he was like not only, schooled properly and had the qualifications, but, he had the passion and the experience too.
Yeah.
And for him to do that is just a super guy, and it was a great pleasure meeting him and getting to know him.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So.
Yeah, that was it was sad, but
well, and I think that's why it that was part of it. It hit me kind of hard. I think that was part of it. I think I mentioned to both of you guys that because we did get to know him, and really see,
but that's
who he was.
If you look at the tributes and stuff, that was him.
Yes,
that's how he made everybody feel.
That's it, right?
You feel like, oh, I'm so special. The Chick Corea, really dug my conversation. I know. And you read like a billion other people saying the same thing.
I know. Yeah. He just had that.
What a compliment to him.
Pretty incredible.
Yeah, it was great.
Absolutely. So.
And think of all the people he met in his life.
Oh my God.
It's hard to imagine.
Worldwide.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He was still traveling all over the world.
He was still playing. He was still recording.
Yeah.
I mean, it was.
And still learning too, because I know with his Instagram feed there was, he had different keyboards and different things, and just getting it set up to record him do all that. This is all relatively new.
Yeah.
So he was learning about all that technology.
Yeah, he
and
talked
all
about
that
that
stuff
too. Yeah,
So I mean,
cool.
I think that's just that's so cool.
So if you have not heard Chick Corea's music, you owe it to yourself to give a listen.
Yes.
Because he's
been
incredible.
around for decades.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
he's the top of the charts for decades.
Absolutely.
I
Very
had a cassette
innovative.
tape of his.
Yeah, well, that's right there. Yeah.
That's funny. That's
Yes,
funny.
definitely. Yeah. So we didn't talk about football yet.
Yeah, all right. So let's do this. So there's not much, because it's the off season. There's not much to talk about, for the last couple of weeks. But the latest thing is, for anybody who's been just following football in general, J.J. Watt is officially leaving Texas. Yeah, and it is highly possible he ends up with the Browns.
Well,
Browns
it's just
are
an
on the
exciting thought and possibility.
But I mean, can you imagine?
I know.
I know. Can you imagine him with the Browns?
Yes.
Opposite Myles Garrett? Are you kidding me?
The most awesome defensive ends in the NFL.
Well, and I look at people keep talking about Steelers because he'll get to play with his brother, and I sit there and go, but he grew up playing with his brother.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I understand the draw there.
Did he have two brothers in the Steelers?
No, I think it's just TJ Watt.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
but that's the thing. That reminds me. The Pouncey twins are retiring. They've announced it.
Well, that's some good news. Who are we going to get to hike the ball over Ben's head now?
We got to find a guy who can hike it 12 feet in the air. I don't know who we're going to find.
That was like, here it comes, Jesus.
Oh, my God. Oh, and he did that in Florida, too. That was the thing that killed me. It was come on, man.
Yeah.
You're still doing that?
That was good for us. But.
Oh, yeah, totally. We loved it. So they're retiring, so they'll have to figure out who's going to do it.
But definitely the speculation is that
I would think he would want to come here. I would think Cleveland would be exactly. Cleveland would be the prime place. You get to play with opposite Myles Garrett. You get to play against your brother twice in the year.
So let's look at this scenario here, okay? And you're the opposing team. We're going to double up on Myles Garrett.
Yeah.
What are you going to do about him?
I know.
His stats are going to go through the roof.
Oh, big time.
And then they're going to go, oh, no, we need to double up on him. And then Garrett's going to drive.
That's it. Well, and then, we're not going to lose. We still got Sheldon Richardson, too. And so I can imagine that if we had Watt, Richardson, and Garrett, those three guys,
we're going to the Super Bowl, baby.
Man, it would be like the '85 Bears. I mean, it really would. It would be that type of defense. You wouldn't be able to stop them. So, I still think we need to get shored up a little bit in the safety area. But I think that they're expecting Grant Delpit. He was set and poised and primed to play. He had earned the starting position up until he got injured right before the season started. So hopefully he comes back. He could do a lot of good. I'm watching every day. I'm watching OBJ. He is crushing the rehab, man.
Showing that. Josh was showing me the videos of him, and it's like I don't know
one-legged bench press or presses, leg presses. One on the leg.
And then they keep adding weights to it and stuff, and it just it makes you nervous watching it.
But he's doing it. He's getting it back, and I mean, he looks great. He looks like he actually lost some weight, but in a good way.
Yeah, he looks strong.
He does. He looks strong. He looks fit. He's doing jumps and twists and stuff.
What's the story on Zendayo? Have they
shown they haven't said it, but he only signed a 1-year contract anyway, so I would imagine he's out. I mean, I don't see how in the world they can keep him.
He was really good at keeping the goalpost company.
That was it. Team's on the opposite 20-yard line, and he's all the way in the goal. And
not only that, if they did throw the Hail Mary, he'd have to run to get to the guy, and then he'd get there too late, and he'd score.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like, what the hell are you doing out there?
Yeah, I don't know.
Those are the kind of things that, like, I don't think any amount of coaching was going to fix that. That was like something that had been just ingrained in him. That's how you play that position.
I think it's chicken, man.
Well, but the thing was, we saw that they did the same thing. Hugh did the same thing with Jabril Peppers. You remember that?
Yeah.
And they used to line him up way down. It's like a coaching style, and I just think with Zendayo, like, nothing against him personally, but he just didn't know how to play that position properly.
Yes.
And if he had been coached that way for a long time, that was just ingrained in him. It did. And so it ended up rendering his spot useless. So he needs to go. We have a bunch of guys that were only hired for that 1-year contract. So I imagine
is that unusual that they just do a year? Or is it
no.
Just
Well, because what happened with him, it was we had to hire somebody.
Had nobody.
We had nobody. Everybody was injured and out and COVID, and I mean, it was like we got to have somebody. Rough. So there were a bunch of people on defense that got hired with 1-year contracts. Yeah, they are talking that Njoku might be gone.
That's gonna hurt.
Well, because he doesn't. Everybody is getting the impression that he doesn't really want to be here anymore.
Yeah, he's not happy because they're not using him.
That's the thing. They're not using him.
How stupid.
Well, and he's a young guy.
Once again goes back to the coach of the year guy.
Don't start ragging on the coach of the year now.
Come on, man. Look, my thing from day one is you have all the arsenal of all these weapons.
That was it.
Why are you only using one?
But they didn't. Right. He stacked the tight end room. You had Harrison Bryant. You had Cooper. You have Njoku. Who was the other guy? There was a fourth one.
They didn't use any of them guys.
Yes, they did. No. They used them the entire season. Are you kidding me?
At the beginning of the season, they were changing things up.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes,
first game.
Towards the end, that's when
they stopped. And then he stopped because the analytics told him otherwise. And
well, and you don't know
it was
that
like
for sure.
Chubb and Hunt. They were going back and forth, and then they stopped, and then Hunt wasn't getting any play at all.
So we'll just have to see how this plays out. I don't feel like. I feel like he's a good player. He did really good things 2 years ago, but the issue to me is is this dynamic going to work? If he's got a grudge,
he said they need to play him or trade him.
Yeah, well,
and I agree. Can blame him?
100%.
No, he's only that young for a certain amount of time.
In my mind, though, if he's already got that mindset, he needs to go because what's going to constitute enough playing time to him?
Well, he's not like OBJ, man.
I don't think OBJ is as much as everybody says he is as far as the troublemaker thing goes. But I can see that
he was a vocal critic when he wasn't used.
Yes, but he also didn't like it. He wasn't a vocal critic when they were winning and he wasn't being used. It was only when they were it was only when they were losing. No,
you need to watch the season again.
When he was taking his cleats off and stuff on the field and all that stuff, they were losing, and that's why he was upset because he was like, "Here I am."
I remember watching him on the field. That mouth, man. Angry, yelling. Don't you remember him yelling at the coach?
I remember.
You're not get the ball to me. You're not using me.
But that wasn't what was happening.
Oh, come on.
No, anyway, I don't think, honestly, if they lost Njoku, I don't think it would be that great. I don't think it would.
Where would he go?
Here's the thing. If they did it right, there's a ton of people that would love to have Njoku, and I think that they could get a great trade for him. Maybe get some draft picks, maybe get, another decent safety or something. I think they can make a good deal.
Lots
it would make
of speculation.
He's come through in clutch situations more times when the Browns needed him.
Well, and I'm not knocking him. I think he's a great player, but I honestly think that he's frustrated, rightfully so. He's in the shadow. So my thing is, if you're already feeling that way, I think you're going to continue to have the contention if he stays on the team because
if they keep treating him that way.
But like I said, if he's out there and he's playing and he's following the plays and he only gets 2 passes, but they were awesome passes, is he going to be upset because he only got 2 passes?
No, I don't think he's that kind of man.
I don't know. I
think you're judging him.
Well, so that's why I think it would be
incorrectly.
It would do him good.
It will be interesting to see.
I think he would like the trade. I think that the team would be better off trading him. I think it would be good for everybody involved.
This coming from a guy who told me to stick with Hugh Jackson.
No,
nice guy. Right. Give him a chance.
Oh, that is ancient.
I don't recall saying that.
You did.
I don't recall that.
I have a witness.
I don't.
No, see,
don't pull me into
I don't want to get into this. So we'll see. Right. We'll see what happens over the next couple of weeks. We'll keep everybody informed.
Of course,
on the Browns
we will.
Off season. Yes.
The Browns off season speculation continues.
Exactly. So we'll see what happens. But it's exciting. It's definitely exciting.
There are no glass or sharp utensils when the Kays watch football.
Keep everything going. That's it.
Throw a paper plate at somebody. Get tracked.
The neighbors leave, you know.
That's it.
The Browns are playing. Well, time to go to the store.
There you go.
Oh, man. All right. Well, we have enjoyed this time with you guys. Thank you for joining us with Coffee with the Kays. Be sure to like and subscribe to us on YouTube and our podcast. If you're listening to us any way that you're getting your podcast, whether it's Spotify, Apple, Stitcher, Anchor FM, anywhere you get your podcast, Google Podcast. I forgot about that one. I don't know, we're on that one. I forgot about it. So so you guys, any way that you get our podcasts, please be sure to subscribe. If you like and are enjoying these episodes, leave us a comment, leave us a review, let other people know that this is a fun time. It's a fun time. It's good. It's educational. It's all kinds of stuff. You know, it's Coffee with a Kays. Come on. So be sure to like, subscribe, follow. Be sure to visit our website too at musiclessonspensacola.com if you are interested in music lessons for you or someone you know, someone you love. And everybody enjoy your week. We will talk to you next time on Coffee with the Kays.